It's time for another interview.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Dota 2 Interview. And I'm your host, VTM, and I am joined by none other than Maut, the Astro Maut, the Juggernaut, Megawatt Maut, Maut Papa Squat, rather. How you doing, Maut?
I'm good. That was pretty good, man. You had a lot of different little rhyming, catchy thingies, and it's pretty impressive.
Well, thank you.
Anyway.
So I don't want to take up too much of your time. We're going to jump right into the meat of all of these questions. I'm sure everyone would love to get to know you slightly better. First off, before we jump into everything, I would like you to define the term Mautism. What does that mean to you?
Mautism is essentially any time where it's a common thing where I'll just say random stuff and it just doesn't happen to have any meaning. It's just not coherent. It makes me sound kind of ignorant or stupid, or I just do something silly, anytime you see me do something kind of ridiculous or things that don't make sense, that's essentially Mautism in a nutshell. I'm trying to think of a good example of one right now, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. It's really just it's a way to. It pretty much just describes me uniquely as a person. Like, people will say, "Oh, that's Mautism," and 9 times out of 10, they're not wrong. Just some of the stuff I say, and it's it used to be, I think, a lot of negative connotation to it, but I think I've really I've embraced the Mautism since it's become popular, I suppose.
I mean, that's all you really can do. You own up the term, and then when you goof, just like, "Oh, it's a Mautism," and then you laugh it off, and yeah.
Right. There's numerous examples I'll have of just be like, I'll do something kind of silly, or I'll forget something, or at the Moonduck house, or I don't know, something will happen. I'll just, well, that's Mautism right there, classic Mautism. So it's definitely something that's become sort of a part of my life, especially when you live with people that are also in the industry. They can use the term then, like, "Oh, you have Mautism." Yeah. It's just like it's a way to describe my life, essentially. Like, that's it.
Well, I think everyone could take a good meaning from that, and if you got something holding you down and you feel oppressed by it, hashtag triggered, you just turn it into something that can benefit your life. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to move forward into one of the segments I would like to introduce called Yay or Nay. Very popular, questionnaire on Twitch. Yay or nay. We're going to yay or nay for you. So with this, you're going to answer with yes or no, and then you can just use 1, maybe 2 words to clarify your answer. So if I were to ask you personally, do you do drugs? You would say, like, yes, meth, right? So we're going to jump right into these. 1, do you like to read?
Yes.
Have you ever?
Do you want me to expand on this? Should I go into detail? Let me tell you all about all the books I read, or do you just want me to say yes or no?
Oh, you can say yes or no, and if you feel like you have to qualify it, you can say additional thing.
Got it.
But
all right.
This is not a big old long forum. Those questions comes later.
Okay.
Have you ever tried breaking a world record?
Yes.
Care to elaborate?
I just asked.
No, you don't want to.
No. I will. I was confused. So I'm a big speedrunner in just video games in general. I also not that I'm very good at swimming. I didn't try to break a world record when I was swimming, but I kind of like to compete against myself and time. It's something that I really enjoy doing, just getting bettering myself. There's a couple of video games that I really practice a lot, and one of them is called Prince of Persia: The Shadow and the Flame, which I will say this and I'll qualify it. I am the current world record holder for Prince of Persia 2, which is a video game in the RTA category, which is just a real-time attack. So there's no breaks. It's not individual levels. You just play the entire game from beginning to end. And I believe my video is on Twitch somewhere of me beating the record, but I'm not 100% sure. There's not really a giant thriving Prince of Persia 2 scene, so there's not many people playing it, but I do hold the world record in that game. So I don't know if that really means anything to anybody.
That's a record.
It is.
Do you know how to swim?
Oh, yes. I've been a competitive swimmer, or I was a competitive swimmer up in high school and college.
Nice. Can you speak any other languages?
No.
Can you do at least 20 push-ups in a row?
Yes.
Do you make wishes at 11:11?
Occasionally, from time to time, not every time, but I will wish it 11 from time to time.
Could I trust you?
Yes.
Do you use conditioner?
Yep.
Does trolling still get to you?
Sometimes.
All right, well, that needs to be in the form of a yes or no question, Maut. So next time there's a penalty on that one.
Okay.
I was just messing with you. Have you ever done anything illegal? You don't need to say it because I don't know what the statutes are on.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, I guess it's all taken care of now. I don't think there's. Yeah, it's been in a long time. And essentially what happened was back in college, I was hanging out with some friends. We really enjoyed playing video games. We really enjoyed hanging out with each other. And all my friends used to just steal DVDs from Walmart. We were in this little small college town in upstate New York, and like there was nothing going on, so we kind of got our kicks off by stealing from the local Walmart there. So we would occasionally steal DVDs, some games, sometimes things like that from the local Walmart. Didn't think we were hurting anybody. One day we were in the Walmart. I was stealing maybe 3 or 4 DVDs, trying to put them in my pocket, trying to get out of the store. And all of a sudden, my friend's like, "We need to get out of here." And I'm like, "What's going on?" And all of a sudden, as soon as I reach the front door, 2 guys run in front of the door and say, "Hey, where are you going? Listen, why don't you come back with us into the back room real quick?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, okay, I'm actually screwed now." So what ended up happening is they had video footage of me like throwing away or throwing away the boxes and putting the discs in my coat, and I got arrested, taken to the police office. Just essentially, they almost took me to jail. I mean,
ooh.
But then they said, okay, it's just whatever. This couple of DVDs, not a big deal. It was going to be a misdemeanor, I believe. Until I think we came to an agreement and then it just kind of got wiped from my record. So never really actually came to any head in terms of any like criminal activity. But
oh, geez.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely interesting. I had, it was just like, I don't know if anyone's ever been arrested. It's not a fun thing, but it was definitely
be pounding, huh?
It was definitely an adrenaline rush sort of thing, But I have not stolen anything since then, so.
Good. Keeping a clean nose there. I figured it would have been the meth, honestly, that you were admitting to.
Yeah, I can tell you, I look like a meth head, don't I? Like, that's it completely.
You have too many teeth, I'd say. Do you look in the tissue after you blow your nose? Important question.
Yes.
Most people do, I think.
All right. Because the way I learned it is that if it's clear, like if the I don't know, I guess the snot is clear, then you don't have any sort of cold or any issues like that. You don't have any bacterial issues. Mm-hmm. If you have if it's yellow or green snot, yellow or green phlegm kind of thing, you have some sort of infection one way or the other. So that's just how I know. Like, am I sick right now or am I fine? I don't know if that's true or not, but whatever.
I just look at it to see how much there is, but now there's a reason to look. Wow, thank you for sharing that.
I could be completely making that up, but that's the way that I've been doing it. Like, that's the only reason I would look into my tissue. But
okay, well, we're going to move now on to user submitted or viewer submitted questions. The first one is from Albert at A16252 says, "A old but a good question. Would you fuck a goat but no one knows? Or would you not fuck a goat, but everyone thinks you did?"
We talked about this question a lot. There was this, we did for the Shanghai Major, Moonduck did the Moonduck and Chill stream, and we had me, like Suns fan, Slacks, and a couple other people just talking about stuff like this. You can go back to the VOD, and you can probably find where we talked about this. And Suns fan was of the sound mind, I think, that he doesn't care who knows, and I think Slacks is of the sound mind, I might be getting this wrong, of he would rather just fuck the goat and nobody knows. And I feel like, I kind of wish I could go down Suns fans' path where I wouldn't give a shit if people thought that I fucked the goat, but I might be that guy that just fucks the goat and doesn't want to deal with the backlash of just like everybody knowing. It's a tough question, to be honest with you. I guess if gun to my head, I guess I would probably. I really wouldn't want to fuck a goat, to be honest with you. That's like the last thing I would want. So,
but then everyone in the scene would think of you as the goat fucker.
Yeah, I guess that's true. If I was still doing what I'm doing now, and if I'm still a Dota caster, I think that people would be like, okay, well, this guy's a goat fucker. I probably, I guess for the sake of my career and the sake of my my friends, I probably would say that I would just fuck the goat, and hopefully, nobody would find out. So,
all right, well, Next up is from Nate Nyberg at nert_Nertberg. Says, what's it like working for Moonduck, having an organization as opposed to being a solo caster, looking for work like that?
There's definitely a feeling that you have I don't want to say a backup, but you have people to help you and to support you. As a caster who is working freelance and is contracting and stuff like that, you're kind of always looking for stability, and you're never really going to find the stability as a freelance caster. It just doesn't exist. With an organization, you know that things are getting planned. They have, even if you don't get invited to any Dota tournament like that year, you still have your organization to back you up into if they make their tournaments, like for example for EM for us, elimination captain's draft, that we have that to kind of help us out and kind of keep us afloat in terms of what we're doing now. So it's also friendship. I have been in a couple of organizations, sort of. I mean, like obviously High Ground was an organization that I worked with, but that was more so like we tried getting some things going and it didn't quite pan out. And by the time that it was panning out, me, Cattle Guy, and Greg would have kind of went our separate ways. And we kind of found our own success. If we had kept with it, we probably could have had our own success if we wanted to. And then before that, I did Neo Dota, which was an organization that's where like Draskell started out, and some other small little tournaments here and there. And that was really my first big foray into casting, and I had some help. So in between those periods, there was a lot of uncertainty. Am I going to get brought to this tournament? Am I going to be able to cast this tournament? And there were very few times where I was able to find stuff on my own. And if I did, it wouldn't be anything spectacular. But when I was with those organizations, and especially Moonduck, it's definitely a lot more. It's you've got a lot of people pushing you too. There's a lot of like, okay, we want to make sure that this can be the best that we possibly can get it. So there's a lot of making sure that we can move forward. Let's see what we can get done kind of thing. And I don't know. It's been a pretty good experience. It's a lot better in my opinion working. It depends on the organization always as well. And if you're more of like an individual or a solo type person, then by all means you can be a freelance contractor. You can make it work. I know there's some people out there that do, some even very famous characters, but for the majority, I think a lot of people are very comfortable in organizations and groups. So it's worked out for me. It's
security in a sense.
Right. Exactly.
Jessica Hunter at mldavi_Dota would like you to further elaborate the real. She says, I'm pretty sure the real question isn't regarding Moonduck, but regarding working with Slacks. So this is kind of a tag on to the last.
It's funny because actually, so Slacks is one of my, I think, best friends in the scene. We actually just got back from his birthday party. He turned 29 today. Well, I guess it won't be today for you guys when this comes out, but he is honestly amazing. And I didn't think that way when I first met the guy. I was kind of hesitant around him because he was so much more outgoing than I expected him to be. And so I was kind of, I don't want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? I was just kind of apprehensive just being around him just because he had so much energy kind of. And so it was tough getting to know him. But when I did finally get to know him, I became very aware like, oh, this guy's awesome. And we quickly became fast friends. And like working with him is a treat because he will make your content better regardless of like what you do. If you're a commentator, like just talking to him just makes you a better commentator just by the energy that he puts out. We did a lot of skits back in Captain's Draft 3 for in Arizona. We did this like kind of get together for Moonduck called Captain's Draft 3. Had a lot of big teams and stuff like that. And we did a lot of video content there. And I wasn't very confident in my writing or in my like content creation until I worked with him, and I had an idea. Like we had done this thing in the Moonduck and Chill stream where I would just randomly get a book of 50 Shades of Grey and just start reading the pages of 50 Shades of Grey on stream live to Andrew and to Slacks. And so they thought that was really funny. And I came up with an idea of like, why don't we do that, but like in video form? So there's this whole like Maut kind of sickness video on the Moonduck YouTube channel. We were going to call it Mautism, but we thought that might not be a good idea. So this video that happened on the Moonduck channel, I wrote it with a little bit of help of Slacks, and then we acted it out. And I was very, very nervous about writing it and about making it, and it turned out really, really well. It was one of the best videos from that particular Captain's Draft, and I think a lot of that had to do with Slacks. I wouldn't have made the thing if Slacks wasn't there. So he's somebody that he's a great friend. You could confide in him, and this is not even talking about what he does for the Dota community and what he does at each and every event. Like, I've never seen somebody become such a big star so quickly.
Mhm.
Well, there's maybe one or two people that might be in that list, but the way it's crazy to me how comfortable he is with random people and how good he is at just getting the funniest things out of them. He's just an outgoing, goofy, lovable, fun guy. That's just a good person. Like, he's just I'm kind of really singing his praises here too much, and I feel like his ego is going to get blown out if he sees this. So I'm just going to stop now. Like, relax, I love you, buddy, but I didn't mean to go this far.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right.
Anyway, sorry.
We'll get off the slacks train for a second. Puppies at Brax Likes Dota asks, what's your favorite color and what he, I'm assuming Maut, would name a newly adopted dog for himself on a Wednesday. I don't know if the day makes any particular thing, but
I saw Brax tweet this question. I was like, what's going on here? This just shout outs to Brax, by the way. Can't wait to see you get back into Dota if you ever will, Brax, buddy. But thank you for the question. It was, what would I name a newly acquired dog, a newly adopted dog
on a Wednesday, and favorite color?
Wednesday, and my favorite color is probably, it's a tie between, I think, orange and green. Those are my two favorite colors. Although, I don't know, it used to be different when I was a kid. As far as what I would name a dog, a newly adopted dog, that is a tough question. It's a very tough question.
I think it depends on the dog, right? Like what it looks like.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I would name it a Dota thing. I don't think I would.
I mean, a lot of times I've had friends just like look at things around them and name. I had a friend named who named their cat Doorknob. Yeah, so Ione.
I don't know why. Whatever. That literally just came out of left field.
Sounds like Italian pasta or something.
Yeah, I guess it does, huh? I'm not good at coming up with names off the spot. I actually saw this question and I thought about it a lot in the past couple hours, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Unprepared. All right, so we're gonna get into this.
I would name it some sort of weeb shit. I don't know. Maybe
weeb shit.
Weeb.
W-E-E-B. Weeb. Okay, I was like, ooh, Maut 420 blaze it. All right, so we're gonna get into the segment Focus Fire. You know, we pissed off the Wind Ranger, so she's hitting us with questions fast. So I'm gonna just throw these at you. You have not been prepared on these, and you're just gonna answer the first thing that comes to mind. All right?
Okay, all right.
All right. What was the last thing you ate?
The last thing I ate was chicken Alfredo.
What's your favorite kind of pizza?
Tomatoes, onions, green peppers.
What actor would you pick to portray you in a movie?
God.
I could see James Franco.
Maybe James Franco. I don't know. Johnny Depp just acting silly. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that these people look like me or I'm that attractive. I doubt that's the case. I just think they're good enough to act out the Mautism that is my life.
All right. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
NSYNC.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
When people that waste like my time, like and it's a specific type of time wasting. It's just like, I don't know. I really value my time very heavily. So it's just like when people don't do what they're supposed to do, and then that causes issues, you know, like maybe somebody has to reschedule something. That's not the worst thing in the world, but just like, I don't know, any sort of time wasting type thing really, really bothers me. Like, unless I'm enjoying what I'm doing, in which case, obviously, you know, like I am now, it's just like, I don't really care. Like, but like, if it's like, I don't know. The best way I could describe it is like if I'm playing a pub game and I put an hour of effort into that pub game and it's just like we are not even close. Like if it's a close game, that's fine. I'll feel like I've gained something out of it. And I feel like I gain stuff from pub games all the time. I feel like I gain a lot of information from every pub. But if I just waste 30 minutes of my time and then we're like almost winning and then somebody on my team DCs, you know, regardless of what his, you know, if his internet died or if he had whatever, like unless it's like some sort of like really family emergency, that does kind of bother me from time to time. I don't know. I have a very short fuse when it comes to that type of thing, and that I generally think that's like I'm pretty happy-go-lucky most of the time, but if people waste my time, it really bothers me.
Yeah, and if someone's going to waste your time, that's kind of like a disrespect to you. So,
right, exactly. I mean,
yeah.
And it's not just that. It's even worse when people waste my time and the time of other people, like my friends, for example. You know, like I can sort of deal with it if people are starting to waste my time. I could kind of like just calm myself down. But if people are wasting my time and my friend's time or somebody else's time, it really gets to me.
I gotcha. What is your favorite meme?
Oh God,
it could be Dota or not Dota.
It changes on a daily basis. I mean, it was "Here Comes Dat Boy" for a while, you know, between some of the Dota people. And Andrew and I, there's this Twitter exchange that happened on Andrew's Twitter or Zyrie's Twitter maybe a month ago or something like that, where Andrew was talking about maybe something political, maybe something like some sort of social commentary, perhaps. I don't know. It was like maybe to do with the No-Tail drama that happened a couple months ago or whatever, weeks ago or something like that. And somebody, two people were arguing on his Twitter, and one person was like, "Check your privilege," and the other person was like, "Check this dick." And so Andrew and I just quote that at each other from time to time.
Check this dick.
Check
All
this
right.
dick. That's probably not. I probably shouldn't have said that, but I don't really care. So
No, it's fine. I mean,
also anything iDubbbz related has been a big meme. I have a video actually that's been kind of a meme that have been spreading around, but I don't know if you could show it or what have you.
If you paste it to me, I will. Okay. If it's not going to get me a copyright strike, we'll edit it right now. Oh, okay. Cool. So I'll edit it in, say right now.
He's going over that cliff.
Okay.
Okay, so they just saw it. All right. And now, last of the focus fire. What kind of socks do you wear day to day? Do you even
just
wear
white?
Socks?
White, I don't know, maybe ankle high, like Adidas socks usually. Okay. Unless I'm doing an event, in which case, you know, if I'm wearing, you know, like a suit or, you know, just khakis or something like that, I'll put on some nice socks, some dress socks.
Gotcha. It's nothing quite like that first time that you put on a pair of dress socks. You know, you've been going a few weeks wearing normal socks, and then you're like, I'm all dressed up. Feels good.
It feels nice actually. Yeah, it's got this weird feeling to it. You're definitely right.
Yeah. So we're actually going to get into the meat of this now. No actual big, you know, shenanigans. It's just getting to know you better. What is your worst memory or story pertaining to having roommates? You know, bad roommate stories.
I saw this when I was trying to think about it. I think I've never really had any particularly bad roommates. The only thing I could say is sometimes my roommates won't clean when they need to, and that can kind of be a little frustrating, but I don't think I've ever had a situation where it's been extremely awkward or there's been some crazy story or something like that. I'm kind of the guy that's sort of the crazy roommate. At least I was in college, but because I stay up late, other shenanigans, things like that. But I don't really have any bad memories of my roommates or previous roommates for that matter.
You're lucky. Back when I was in a band, my roommate and the lead guitarist for the band, he had this dog that if you yelled at it, it'd run to the middle of the room and just take a shit. It had anger shits. So there'd be like middle of the night, you know, I'd get up to go get a snack or something and then step in some anger shit. Not fun.
Yeah,
so I'm jealous of you. Do you follow any sports? And if so, what are your favorite teams?
I am a gigantic football and hockey fan, always have been. And my family is from Western New York or Buffalo, if you want to call it that, just in the vicinity of Buffalo. So I'm a huge fan of the Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres, to which everyone says, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, all right, I guess so. But, you know, I don't know. I really enjoy watching hockey. I really enjoy watching football. So if I can catch a Sabres or a Bills game every so often, and I'm good to go.
Okay. Have you been to any of their games live at all?
Yes. I've been to maybe 6 or 7 Sabres games in the past couple of years. I've actually not been to a Bills game, which really bothers me because I've always wanted to go to one. But maybe that's a good thing because they consistently lose all the time. So
I guess that's true. Do you have a weird quirk or And is there anything, any interesting stories relating to that weird quirk?
I think my life is a weird quirk. I think when people say Mautism, they're not wrong about it. I definitely have a different weird type of, I don't know, living my life in comparison to other people. I'm pretty socially awkward from time to time when it comes to, like, I don't know, just social interactions in general, which is kind of weird for somebody that's a broadcaster in Dota 2. But sometimes you just got to embrace it. I don't know if I have any weird stories involving, like, a quirk that I have. I'm trying to think of any other quirks that I have, but I don't know if I have any. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't really have any other weird quirks.
Okay. Do you like TV and movies? A lot of people do. And if so, what have you been into lately? But if not, why don't you like those?
I pretty much like every form of media: TVs, movies, books, occasionally art. Plays not so much. Plays and musicals. I'm not particularly. I just don't have the time to go see them, or I'm into them. But TV shows and movies for sure. And I'm trying to think of what I've been watching recently. I've actually kind of taken a break from watching shows. I want to watch shows with my roommates. They've never seen The Wire. Of course, I've seen The Wire, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's one of the best shows of all time. What movies have I seen? The movies that came out recently, except for I haven't seen Rogue One yet. There was a movie, like I said, I am a bit of a weeb. I saw Kimi no Nawa, which is Your Name. It's this amazing Japanese film that came out not too long ago in Japan. Is coming to theaters in America pretty soon. And kind of been binge watching some anime from here and there recently too. And just random YouTube videos. So I don't know what I've been watching recently, but I watch a lot of movies and TV. So
About the only animes I've ever watched are Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho. You ever seen Yu Yu Hakusho?
Yes.
Oh man, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It's a great show.
All right. A lot of people, they like Dragon Ball, but they've never heard of Yu Yu Hakusho. For those of you out there, go watch it.
That's like the tsunami thing. I think the tsunami effect. I don't know if you live in America, I'm assuming, and that's just kind of where most people got. That's how I got introduced to the genre of just anime in general. I think was just watching Toonami, and Yu Yu Hakusho was a popular Toonami show back in the day.
Yeah. What kind of student were you in high school, and do you think you've changed much as a person since then?
I really wasn't. Well, if you're talking about I don't know, just like academically. I consider myself a pretty intelligent person, but a lot of the time I didn't put really the best effort into my schoolwork. Whenever I would get in a class that wasn't honors or AP, I could easily get an A in it without having any real issues or struggles, and really not putting in the work or effort that needed to be put in. I could get an A in it regardless. Once I got into honors classes, it got a bit harder. I would usually get B's in those classes because I just didn't want to do the work. And then when I got into AP classes, it got even worse because it was just, even if I loved the subject, a lot of the time I just wouldn't put in the work that I needed to do to actually be successful in the class. So when it came to those types of things, I did okay. I was pretty average in that regard because I didn't do the work. If I had done the work, I feel like I could have done a lot better. But that was really never like the top tier goal for me when it came to high school. Yeah. I just kind of wanted to have fun all the time.
I mean, that's usually how people are. But now you seem like you're quite the hard worker. I mean, you are in one of the most prestigious groups that there are in the Dota scene.
It comes and goes in phases. There are times where I will absolutely knuckle down, and I'll, there'll be a week where I'll be casting for 10 hours straight every day and just working my ass off. And then there will be weeks or even months where I'll just kind of laze around, play some Dota from time to time, but nothing too serious. If I really like doing something, or if I'm really into something, I'll put in the effort to be better at it. Casting, of course, is a good example of that. But if I just don't have, if there's even the slightest bit of non-interest, I just will be like, okay, that's whatever sort of thing.
I got you.
That's just kind of how I'm.
What is your biggest guilty pleasure?
Probably food right now.
Food?
Yeah. I grew up when I was in high school. Like I said, I was a competitive swimmer, and I was pretty strict about what I ate and how much I worked out, and it kind of can get to you from the ages of 10 to about 21, 20. I would swim every day with maybe a couple days and break weeks here and there, not too often, but I'd swim for at least 3 hours a day, usually every day. Sometimes I would swim twice a day, 3 hours each time. In college, that was what I was doing. I was swimming 3 hours in the morning or 2 hours in the morning and about 3 hours in the evening, plus, an hour and a half of weight training and an hour and a half of other sort of dryland exercises, and eating healthy that entire time. So when I stopped swimming, I kind of just said, okay, I'm just going to go all out. And it's only been recently that I'm starting to get back into working out and getting back into shape. But I know like the road to getting that body that I want to get is like, it's a long road. So I'm kind of just like, it's tough to get back to that point, but
it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to gain the weight than it is to lose it, I'd say.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And there seems to be a huge health craze lately in the Dota scene.
I think I'm starting to become a part of it. Yeah, I think LD was one of the first people I think that was really into it. There have been people that have been healthy a ton. I know I saw David, and like after his keto diet, I'm like, damn, you look so good. Like he looked great. And then now it's like, I think Suns fan, I saw him recently. He's looking pretty good. I'm not sure if his diet and stuff is still going. And then of course, I think Blitz Will obviously is the biggest one, and he looks fantastic now too. So shout out to everybody. I mean, I'm gonna try to get there as well, but we'll see.
Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you there. I mean, you had that that lifestyle for a little while, so you're gonna be. I think it'd be easier for you to get back into that, whereas someone who's never really experienced that.
Yeah, it's just part of me being like, do I really want to have to go back to that? I know there are different levels of of commitment. So I'm kind of thinking like, okay, I won't go back to swimming 3 hours a day or 6 hours a day, but maybe I'll get back into working out, doing 2 hours of dry land, kind of lifting and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Well, good luck. Current favorite and most hated heroes in Dota. We gotta, talk about Dota somewhat. This is kind of
this isn't a meme answer. This is a straight up answer, just because I just like the hero. It's like the one hero when I first started playing Dota 1 that I really enjoyed because it was easy, it was simple, and I've learned that there's more there's more beneath the surface with him, with Viper, and kind of like he's not just an auto attack hero. He's not just about lane dominance. I mean, he is all of those things, but there's a lot more to him. There's a lot of different builds with him. He is kind of one-dimensional, and he can ruin pubs, and I think a lot of the pro players don't really like him. I've talked to a couple people about it, and they're just like, you're a Viper picker? What the hell's wrong with you? Which I get. I understand. But he's probably my all-time favorite hero. It used to be Rubik back in TI2 when Dendy was playing a lot of Rubik mid. I tried doing the same thing. I would play Rubik mid all the time. In fact, one of my top picked heroes would go on my Dota, but it's still Rubik, even though I don't play him that much. I like him as a support, but as a mid player, it was so fun to just pick Rubik and go around and just do all the crazy stuff that you could do with that hero. And hopefully it becomes a bit more prevalent in the next couple of patches. But those two heroes, I was a huge fan of Leshrac. I always thought Edict was broken. I still think Edict is broken. What else? What else is there? I pretty much like playing every hero. Clockwork is another one that's definitely up there for me. As far as hated heroes, I think probably Techies is a pretty big one up there for me. I don't enjoy the mechanic that is Techies. Yeah. I think he could be exciting when you're watching him. I think he's fun, but he's not a hero that I particularly enjoy playing or playing against, for that matter. I have to get up a list of Dota heroes real quick. Let's get
while you do
the
that,
biggest problem I have.
Yeah, for me personally, I hate Juggernaut and Lifestealer a lot, just because like their inherent spell immunity. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just because they can fit so well in so many drafts. I feel like there needs to be more specialization in heroes, but
I mean, that's kind of how I feel about a lot of Dota heroes. If I'm seeing them a lot in pub games, or especially if I'm casting, I'm seeing a hero every game, I'm just kind of like, all right, well, what's a good example? I used to love seeing like Shadow Demon get picked up a lot because Shadow Demon was a good, like, I like watching that hero.
Back when he first popped up, yeah.
Yeah, like, he had his peaks and valleys when he was picked in Dota, but his recent, like, him getting picked as so much recently has just kind of been like, okay. And I think a lot of pros are like this too. They just don't like playing against Shadow Demon and Luna together. It's just an annoying combo that shouldn't be a thing. Like, the illusions are still strong. Soul Catcher with magical burst damage and just nukes in general, very, very strong. I think Shadow Demon is just, he's fun to play for me still, but I just don't like watching him. And then what else? There's like one or two other heroes. I know Slacks really hates Winter Wyvern. It's kind of interesting how everybody has their little quirks that they just hate, like certain heroes that are like, why would you hate Winter Wyvern? Like, I don't understand. He just doesn't like the hero. I think Ogre is, again, it's a lot of fun to play, but to watch, I've seen him enough that I'm like, okay, that's enough of that. And then I'm not a fan of playing against, playing with, playing as Lone Druid or Gyrocopter. And then everybody else I'm kind of like okay with. I don't really have any issues with the rest of the hero roster as far as I know.
Well, that's good.
So there's some interesting ones out there.
What is the craziest or stupidest thing that you've done behind the scenes at a Dota event? Or at least, what are you comfortable with sharing?
That's another one of those things where I kind of have to rack my brain, rack my memory. I guess when I was really, really, really tired, I was kind of, I wouldn't say I wasn't overworked. It wasn't anything to do with the BTS guys or the Summit people or anything like that. I didn't get a lot of sleep the night beforehand. And there was a time during this not the last Summit, the Summit before last, where I was like really just like super tired and I was like falling asleep on camera. That was
I remember that.
That was one of the most embarrassing things that'll ever, I think, happen to me. And I regret it immensely, but I just for some reason couldn't keep my eyes open at all that entire day. I was running on like no sleep. I was doing a lot of observing. I was kind of exhausted to a certain extent. So yeah, I don't know what happened there, but that's. And then as far as behind the scenes, I don't think I've done anything behind the scenes that's too. I pretty much embarrass myself on a daily basis when it comes to that kind of thing. So there's a lot of stuff like that, but nothing too significant.
All right. So, do you have any irrational fears, and have you ever had to confront them?
I don't know. I have a pretty irrational fear of certain insects and stuff like that. Nothing too ridiculous. I used to be super scared of heights and super scared of like roller coaster rides and stuff like that when I was a kid. Yeah. Because my brother was. I think that was a big part of it too. But I've since gotten over that in a very, very big way. I love going on roller coasters. I love, hiking. I don't mind the heights anymore in any way, shape, or form. So nothing too crazy. I think just the standard irrational fears that most people have.
What roller coasters have you been on?
Oh God, I've been on just about every roller coaster at Six Flags New England, Six Flags New Jersey, Disneyland, Disney World, like any ride that you could think of that's a thrill ride. I've probably been on it. On some of them, like Islands of Adventure. So like any of those big parks, I've been on pretty much every single ride there. So.
Oh, cool. All right, so it looks like our interview is just about over, but I have one final question for you.
Shoot.
Do you know who Icefrog is?
No. I do not. I do not know who Icefrog is.
I know some people in the scene have met him and have had to sign, non-disclosures that they'll never say who it is, but...
Yeah. There are plenty of people out there that I know personally that do know him, that have met him, and are that talk with him pretty consistently. But I think I've asked those people if they would reveal him, which was kind of a silly thing for me to ask. Because first of all, the guy wants his privacy. He should keep his privacy.
Yeah.
My intrigue shouldn't outweigh his need for privacy at all. But I have asked people, and they're just like, I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
Now, these are people I consider pretty good friends. They're like, I'm not going to tell you who it is, which is completely fine. I think that their allegiance lies to him, which is absolutely where it should lie. I'd like to know if I go my entire life without knowing who Icefrog is, I will never, there's actually, no, I'm not going to say this. I had kind of the story, but I'm not going to tell it. So I'll have to leave the people in suspense on that. Maybe I have a story about a friend, but it has nothing to do with Icefrog himself. But if you see me and this question is really kind of just like, oh, I can't believe you didn't tell that story, then come talk to me about it, I guess. All right.
Okay, well, that is going to do it for this episode of Dota 2 Interview. Once again, I was joined by Maut. You can follow him on Twitter at MautDota. Thank you so much for joining me. Do you have any, announcements or any upcoming plans or anything you'd like to say just in general?
First of all, thank you for having me. Of course, shout out to you for bringing me on. It's always nice to do these types of things. Shout out to Moonduck, my organization, all the friends that I work with at Moonduck. You can find a bunch of cool stuff coming in February, we hope, for Moonduck. both Dota wise and unrelated as well to Dota. One of those things that's unrelated to Dota is something we're doing every Tuesday night now. We have a Moonduck game night where myself and a couple other Moonduck personalities and whoever we can get kind of come and play and play games together. It was this week we did Secret Hitler, which is a really fun game. It's a lot like Mafia with myself, Ziori, Suns fan, Sagity, and Trent Pax, as well as Rhyme and a couple other cool people. And those videos are over on YouTube. We do it every Tuesday night around 6 or 7 Eastern. I believe it is 6 Eastern is when we usually will do it, maybe 6:45 Eastern every Tuesday night. So, and that'll be streamed over on the Moonduck TV channel. That's the show that I'm running right now. Also, if you have any ideas as what games we should play on the Moonduck game night stream, go ahead and tweet me at Maut. But that's all I got.
Okay, well, awesome. Thank you all for watching, and make sure you subscribe if you want to see more Dota 2 interviews, and bug all your favorite personalities about joining, because I'm probably the only person who's really going to ask them these things. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you once again, Maut, and take care, everyone.